All right. Let's see if everyone can hear me now. Let's do. All right. What's going on? Can everyone hear me now? I don't know why that wasn't working. That was really odd. So, can everyone hear me now? I'm sure everyone can hear me now. I tried the AirPods. It said the AirPods were working, but I guess they weren't connected to the computer. But, anyways, guys, we're going right into this with Darwin Nunez. Okay. So, let's just start with the overall conversation about Darwin Nunez, right? Because about a month ago, I came on here and we talked about how really we all owe Darwin Nunez an apology, right? Let's just start with that. Because there are matches where Darwin Nunez will actually blow the lid off of any misconceptions or doubts about his ability as a player, right? And we see it maybe twice a season since he's been here, right? When you think of these matches, you think of Newcastle, right? Coming on 2 goals in like 5 minutes to secure the match. That's what you think about. And the crazy thing is with Darwin Nunez is there's two things really: the price tag and his age, right? So you bring a player in for this amount, 85 million, up to 85, right? I think that's the price tag that we're all going with. And you expect a certain amount out of a player. And when you don't receive that certain amount or you see any little defects in his game, there's going to be criticism. And that goes not only for Darwin, but for every single player, right? With Darwin, though, and really it's coming to a head with the Villa match. You're running into a problem where it's the same inconsistencies over and over and over again. And when it becomes the same problem over and over and over again, it's no longer an inconsistency, it's a habit. It becomes who he is as a player. It's no longer he's flip-flopping. So I was talking with Steven earlier this week, and the main problem you're having with Darwin Nunez is he's 25. Is he this player? Is he the player that kind of sweats in front of goal? When there's an open net, does he fold? Right? Is he even a good quality striker to where he can play in this league? Right? There's no doubt there's skill there. But at 25 years old, I'm expecting to see a little bit more consistency, a little bit more composure, poise in front of the net, because really that's the main criticism. It's not his effort, right? It's becoming an issue, right? And that leads me into the dilemma and the links with him to the Saudi league, because Liverpool reportedly received an offer during the January window that was rejected. And to my understanding, it was somewhere around the same price that we paid for Darwin Nunez, right? So keeping that in mind, there's two reasons you don't sell Darwin Nunez in the January window. And good morning to everyone. One, you don't want to sell him because you believe in him. You still believe in him. He's still part of your future plans. That's fine. Actually, there's three reasons. Two, it's January, and you don't want to sell anyone in the middle of the season when you're in a title race and Champions League race. You don't want to do any of that because then you leave a hole. Regardless of what you have to say about his ability or his productivity, you still have a hole in the lineup. Or third, the price wasn't there. You're wanting more. Okay? I think, and all the reports really over the last 2 weeks are suggesting the same exact thing, guys. Darwin Nunez is leaving this summer. And we just didn't sell him because we don't. I feel like unless a player wants out, directly hands in a transfer request, and is rocking the boat, you're not going to sell him in the middle of the season. It's not smart. It's not good business when you're having the success you are as a team and the player isn't verbalizing his discontent with the team. So you're going to keep him around. The problem then lies in the fact that you have a debate of his productivity recently, right? In recent seasons, let me put it that way. I always bring this up. 18 goals, 13 assists, all of last season, okay? That's not a bad return, right? And I just need everyone to keep that in mind as we have this conversation because, past results don't predict future results. I'm not saying that. But you have to keep that in mind when you're looking at Darwin Nunez, right? Am I against selling this player in the summer? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. Especially if you can get somewhere near what you paid for him, right? And if there's any league that you can kind of coax into that, it's the Saudi league. They have no problem. I guarantee you they don't care. If they're offering 70, 80 million, whatever they offered during the January transfer window for him, in the summer, you can probably get more, if not the same amount. And excuse me, as a striker, you expect a certain level of production, really as a forward. Players that can consistently produce that, we all know Salah can. He does it every year, just defies all odds, and he does it every year. He seems to improve every single year. Jota, really up until this season, you can say the same thing, that he's just injured a lot, okay? Gakpo produces, Diaz produces. I was critical very heavily of Diaz last season, but he, at the beginning of the season, kind of proved me wrong. Now he's hitting a little bit of a plateau. But what you're not seeing with these guys, at least not this season, is missing sitters and consistent poor play or just fundamental flaws. All right, fundamental flaws. Let's put it to a defensive analogy. All right, if you have Darwin Nunez missing sitters, right, not just one, it happens all the time. You see wide open nets and players just sky it over the bar and they just put their hands on their head like, oh my God, how did that happen? It happens, right? You can't fault players for that. But if it's a consistent problem, okay, then you're like scratching your head like, what's going on? So a defensive analogy, if you have Van Dijk, who is going to clear the ball, and every time he goes to clear the ball, he scuffs it right to the foot of the attacker, or he completely misses it, or he just doesn't clear the ball. And it leads to a goal consistently, not just one mistake, consistently. You're going to start asking questions. What the hell is wrong with him? Why can't he clear the ball? That's like one of your number one jobs as a defender is to clear the ball, right? Or Trent marking the back post or getting dribbled by on the wing, right? These are fundamental aspects of your job. And when you consistently fail at them, you have to ask the question, do you even have that ability in your bag? And for 85 million, finishing in front of open net should be the number one thing in your bag of tools. So, for Darwin Nunez, you have to wrap your head around the fact that he could leave this summer. And he probably should leave. And I'm starting to detach myself from his potential and more so just looking at what he's given me, right? What have you given me? You had a good year. I see these spurts of greatness from you, but I'm also seeing a lot of just poor striker play, a lot of fundamental lapses in your game. And when I see that consistently, and when fans see that consistently, I am now open to selling. And I think a lot of fans are wrapping their heads around that. And I think, unfortunately for Darwin, it's tough for him, right? It's the deleted post earlier in the week. Can't remember the beginning part of it, but I know it's like he's going to battle for the shirt and the club. But there's another part of it that is escaping me right now, and so I won't go too much into that because I can't remember. But regardless of your love for a team, regardless of your commitment, right? At this level, there is a certain level of just cutthroat. Like, if you're not doing your job, we love you. You gotta go. You gotta go. It's nothing personal. It's your job. You're paid to be a goal scorer. And if you're not doing that in this club, let's sell you to another club, get someone in who's doing the job that we're requiring, that fits the job requirements, and good luck wherever you're going. So as of right now, that's where I am with Darwin Nunez. I am at a point where the inconsistency is becoming so much of a reoccurring theme, it's changed my mind almost to this might be who he is as a player. And regardless if you want to justify it with a psychological thing, like quote unquote yips, right? I don't have time to wait for that. Fans don't have time to wait for that, right? When you give a player 3 seasons, you got to have the conversation. Sometimes that's a lot more than teams are willing to give players. That is where I'm currently at with Darwin Nunez. And I'd like to go over the chat and say good morning to everyone. Ross, Hank, Hannah, Liz, Yogesh, Supreme Architect, Hank, Ardio, yo, cool. What's going on, everybody? Good morning. Thank you guys for being here. Shout out to everyone who stuck with me through the muting or I don't know what happened with the AirPods, because the AirPods were hooked up, but it is what it is. I think it's time to upgrade microphones, guys. I really think it's time to upgrade microphones. Now, one thing I am seeing in the chat right now is Jota will leave this summer in addition to Nunez. Right? So let's humor this for a minute. Okay? And guys, please leave your thoughts in the chat. Diogo Jota leaving in the summer. I have never, it hasn't really crossed my mind to sell Jota. Maybe when I'm annoyed with his injury consistency, which I tried to combine Jota and Yogesh, and it came out as yoga. Yogesh says here, being injury prone is annoying. It's obnoxious, and it's frustrating. We went through it with Keita, all right? Jota is nowhere near Keita, but Jota is good for a 2 to 3 month absence every season, which is basically a third of the season. Is that enough for me to sell him? No, that's not enough. Not. Because when he plays, he produces. The first year where maybe you're questioning it, right? Diogo Jota, for me, does his job when he plays. Every single season, right? We constantly say, if he's healthy for the whole year, what kind of damage could Jota do? And we've even said before, he might be the best finisher on the team. He might be. He might be the best finisher on the team. And obviously we can say Salah with that, right? But I'm just looking at like skill in front of goal. It's got to be Jota or Salah, right? And that's his job. His job's to be a goal scorer. And he's pretty damn good at it. So I am not on that. I'm not sailing away with that opinion yet of selling Jota. I'm really not. Now, with Nunez, yes. And of course, we can talk about all the other players as well, or areas of concern. You know, left back is definitely one that I brought up last week. And I don't want to delve too much into left back, but I spoke with Steve about this earlier this week. Left back is probably one of the first positions Arne Slot is looking at this summer. There's no question in my mind. Regardless if you still believe in Robbo, you believe in Tsimikas as a backup, the first position you look at is left back, right? You may also have to take a look at right back because we don't know what's going on with the Trent situation right now, right? So, but we'll push that aside. We don't need to talk about that today. We need reinforcements. And if Darwin Nunez leaves, it's an attack. Don't think we need anything in midfield. I mean, our midfield is so solid. I really like. I don't think we need anything in midfield. And we're at a place as a team where if we end up scraping, I don't want to say scraping, that's the wrong word. If we end up winning the league, all right, you're going to have players leave, right? I think that's a great time. And even if we don't win the league, but you're going to have players leave. You're going to have Nunez leave, right? But that's the only player in my mind that is like a for sure you're leaving, you know? And maybe Kelleher, but we haven't heard anything about Kelleher in a long time, right? When was the last time that we heard anything about Kelleher leaving, guys? He was the talk of the town for a long time. 25, 30 million. Kelleher's leaving. We got, I don't even remember the dude's name now. Marmadashvili. Jesus. Forgot about him for a second. He might be the only other one. It's not crossing my mind mid-season. The only one that is a problem for me is Darwin Nunez. I'm going to have a hot take, and I need everyone to stay with me. Darwin Nunez leaving, to me, might be just as hurtful when all is said and done in terms of potential and what he did at the club and the hype surrounding him coming in. It might be just as hurtful as Keita's time here. Different reasons, but the same level of hurt. The hype surrounding Nunez coming in, the hype surrounding Naby Keita, the type of signing, just like, we're getting this great player. We're getting this like sought after player in their respective position. Tons of potential, right? Getting them young for, high fee, but God, imagine what they could do at this club. And the disappointment that follows. If Darwin leaves this summer, Darwin and Keita are right up there together with, good God, what a disappointment. Just heartbreaking in terms of what could have been, and it doesn't work out for every player. I mean, for any sport, it's just not guaranteed. And I see some people in here, Yo Cool actually has a good point. I thought about this. Nunez just doesn't have the football IQ. Without that, his assets are pointless. That's a really good point, right? You can have all the skill in the world, but if you don't have the IQ, you don't have the decision-making ability, you don't have the wherewithal, the awareness of when and how and to what level to use those skills, you might as well just be a stuffed animal out there, dude. Like, it's so disappointing, right? And it's like you look at Keita, and this is why I made that comparison, because Keita had all the ability in the world, and he just could not stay healthy. To this day, I think his groin is still injured. To this day, I don't think he's playing football. He's out with a groin injury. To this day. It's just one of those things that is so disappointing as a fan. However, changing gears and looking at the match that we have ahead of us today, right? Man City and Liverpool has been the matchup for the last 10 years. Just epic. This is the first season, I wouldn't say maybe the second, where Man City are actually not going into this game with just as much momentum as Liverpool, right? Like, there have been times where we've met where we're ahead of them in the table and they're ahead of us, or, there's a huge gap, whatever, right? But this is the first time where I've actually felt like, and bear with me here because I'm not trying to jinx it. It's just how I'm feeling, right? We're going into this match, and you think about City as, oh, well, City have been kind of bad recently, right? And really not recently, but like for half the season, they've been bad. And of course, there's the argument that that goes out the window when you have a matchup like this. And it does, right? Form and everything goes out the window every time you play a team. Doesn't matter if we're playing United, doesn't matter if we're playing Everton. It really doesn't. It always goes out the window. And that's why these matches are so exciting. But this match could very well decide the season, guys. This match very well could decide the season. And I say that because Man City are sitting in fourth with 44 points. Liverpool have 61. Okay, they're 17 points behind us. They're not catching us, right? That's not the question. But with Arsenal and West Ham and that result, you're looking at a big match today. You're looking at a match where, and again, mathematically, we can have that debate all day. I'm never set on, until we're on like match day 36, I'm never convinced. And a lot of people, it's so strange to me that people will say, like I saw a report that there was Bovada or one of these gambling, and it could have been bullshit. Let's be honest. It could have been. But I saw something where they're already paying out. This is ridiculous. There's no way this happened. But I saw they're already paying out winnings for those who bet on Liverpool to win the Premier League after Arsenal's result against West Ham. And I'm thinking to myself, like, that is just, guys, there's 12 matches left, right? 11 after today. It's 33 points. That's 33 points up in the air. There's no way this is over. Like, there's no way. Now, if we win today, you can start thinking, man, well, that's big. It's a big win. That's a big 3 points, right? But recently, what have Liverpool done? They've kind of been shaky. They're not bottling anything, but they've been shaky. They've been very shaky over the last, let's say, 5 Premier League games. And you look at the table, and there's no doubt in my mind that Liverpool will finish first or second this season. Okay? Zero doubt. Put money on it, first or second. However, the gap is not big enough for me to convince myself that Liverpool win the league with a win today. Because Arsenal are still there. They're still hanging on. Right? And imagine if Arsenal had a consistent goal scorer. Just imagine. That'd be so stressful. That's the only thing that's making me feel better. All right? But then right below Arsenal, you have Forest, 6 points behind them. And then you have City, right? Like, those teams aren't catching us. It's Arsenal. But we need to take every opportunity and win matches. Not losing football games is great. That's great. If you've managed to only lose one match, you're doing something right. But dude, it's not over until it's over. The Premier League is so competitive. You cannot. I've done it this year because some of you know, those of you who have been here, have known that I've recently started doing a little bit of sports betting. Right? I'm dabbling in different sports, but I've tried football. I've tried the Premier League. The accuracy of my predictions in the Premier League is so low. It's unbelievable. You can't. All I do is bet the favorited team. And almost every game it's wrong. This league is not predictable. It's never been, it never will be. Teams are too good now. There's too much quality, even in the worst teams. There's too much quality. Hell, guys, look at Wolves. Wolves are 17th in the table. And you look at their lineup and you see some great quality players in there. It's not like you're going up against freaking baristas who are playing football on the side. Like, it's not, you're playing professional, great players. But because the league is so competitive, you look at a team like Wolves, hell, you look at a team like Spurs, Man United's in 15th, right? But we won't get into that. Guys, the bottom, listen to this, 17th all the way through 12th in this order: Wolves, West Ham, Man United, Everton, Crystal Palace, Spurs. Those teams are great teams. But because the league is so competitive, because you have teams like Fulham, Brighton, Brentford, Villa, even Bournemouth now, you have these mid-table teams that are so high in quality, who are coached so well, that if you're not performing, doesn't matter how much quality you have or how much pedigree you have, you're not going to win. And so Liverpool, to be able to go through this year with one loss is kind of remarkable. But at any moment, you can start dropping games. You can start losing games. You can start just going on a drawing spree. And let's be honest, the likelihood of today is a draw. That's the likelihood of today, is a draw. And this league will chew you up and spit you out. It is that competitive. It is so difficult to win this league. Even with the gap that we have, it is not guaranteed. You could see at this point in the season last year, Liverpool were top of the table. Right? Let's remember that. They blew it. It happens. We need to dial in. We absolutely need to. And against City, there's no better time to dial in and start building some momentum. All right? December 1st, Liverpool played City at Anfield and had a great showing, a 2-0 win, right? Maybe the first time, not the first time, but maybe when people started looking at Slot like, damn, okay, Liverpool are for real. Prior to that, it's a 1-1 draw. Prior to that, it's a 1-1 draw. Then we get smoked by City 4-1, and then Liverpool win 1-0. Okay? Man City are back to pretty good form. The poorest result they had is when they got absolutely smoked by Arsenal 5-1. But aside from that, beating Newcastle 4-0, it's a good win. Chelsea 3-1, Ipswich 6-0, that's expected, and a draw to Brentford. Brentford's a trap game, just like Nottingham Forest, right? Just like Bournemouth. These games where you're like, we're playing Bournemouth, and then you draw or you lose. It's a trap game, just like Villa was to us last week, or not last week, but last match. 2-2 to Villa, 2-1 to Wolves, 2-2 to Everton. We beat Bournemouth 2-0. We beat Ipswich 4-1. And another thing I wanted to bring up, now that I'm looking at the actual results, letting in 2 goals against Villa, 1 goal against Wolves, 2 against Everton. Steven had mentioned that Alisson doesn't look like himself. He doesn't have the same, not that he has the ability, but he doesn't look the same as he has in years past. I just want to get everyone's take on that in the chat. What do you think? And Yo Cool says, Kyle betting his life savings YouTube channel, Liverpool winning the league. Well, I put $5 on him to win the league. Right? That's it. $5 on him to win the league. So we'll see how that works out. I'm out $5. That's probably the biggest bet I've made ever, is $5. So don't worry about it. Tony, what's up, man? Tony says we need to win today to get the players' heads back in the competition. We need to get out of this run of draws. Exactly. Right? Run of draws is great. Right? We're not losing football games. And that's good because you're getting points. But it's starting to become, it's like we're in this rut. We need to get out. We need to win against a good team and get the momentum rolling again. Because as I mentioned, you have so many teams that can win. So many teams that can win. And if you're not careful, you blow the lead like we did last year. It can happen. Maybe injuries are catching up to Allison. Well, him and Jota are like the same player, dude. They're almost guaranteed to miss 2 to 3 months a year. And as a goalkeeper, I don't know. I mean, yes, you're diving, you're hitting the ground hard. I get it. But unless you're not landing right, or you're landing on your wrist and breaking your wrist, or it's like, what are you doing? How are you getting injured? Why are you like, stop? You're a goaltender. I don't understand, dude. That's nothing pisses me off more than Allison's injury proneness. May explain why Liverpool have an Allison replacement lined up. I have I have it on good authority that, you know, Marmadashvili, not a panic buy, but almost an insurance buy, right? Because at this point, we actually don't know if Allison or Kelleher are staying. We've seen more reports regarding Kelleher leaving, but Mamadashvili is more of like, this guy's available. He's one of the top young keepers in the world. Buy him, right? It's kind of like that. It's one of those scenarios. It's not like we need a replacement, buy him. It's like he's available. We'd be stupid not to buy him. It's one of those buys. And if it just so happens one of our keepers leaves, whether it's Kelleher or Allison, right, you're fine. You have good keepers now. So I don't know what's going to happen with that. I really don't understand. Or I don't know. Thank you for the membership, Liz. Thank you very much. And going back to City, right? Liverpool, I mean, it's actually crazy. It's unbelievable the difference in record this season between the two teams. You have Liverpool with 18 wins, 7 draws, and 1 loss. And City, oh, they went through a really bad run of form. 13 wins, 5 draws, 7 losses. 7 losses, bro. We've had seasons like that before. You know, I mean, I get it. But statistically, they're really not that bad. They're almost the same as us. They're averaging over 2 goals scored per match. They're conceding 1.4, right, which is much higher than usual for them. But we're conceding 1, scoring 2.38, so 2.4, right? So head to head, it's pretty even. And we both create about 3 chances per match. The thing that we have going for us is, I think, our defense. All right, our defense has been much more disciplined this year, and as a result, you don't have those games where you're giving up 3, 4, 5 goals. Our worst defeat and our only defeat is against Nottingham Forest 1-0, right? They game planned, we weren't ready. That happens. However, Man City get blown out 5-1 by Arsenal to a team that doesn't even have a striker, right? So they're vulnerable at the back, very vulnerable. They're not as locked down as they've been in the past. It's very possible, if you get into the head of City, right, whether it's tactically or just psychologically, whatever, that you can put a lot of goals past them. But I said it before, earlier in the show, the likeliness or the probability of this game, it's going to be a draw. It's going to be a draw. That is the most likely scenario. Now, if we look at goals, Erling Haaland is still going strong this season with 19 goals for Man City. But Mo Salah with 24 goals, guys. He's having, I'd argue this, the best season as a Liverpool player. Now, bear with me, because the first season, there's no doubt. I mean, that's phenomenal, right? But I'm not talking just statistically. I'm talking overall. Because Mo Salah has 24 goals and 15 assists this year. All right, that's 39 goal involvements in 27 games. Okay? I would like to just pull up how many assists he had his first season, because I want to say it's around 10. And that's one of the main reasons I'm so impressed with Mo Salah this season. Because not only is he, here we go. What do we have? 32 goals, 10 assists, exactly 10. Okay. Most seasons, I'm going down the list, right? This is from the when he came to now, all right? And this is, I believe, just Premier League. Yeah, I think it's just Premier League, okay? Going down the list, assists, okay? 10, 8, 10, 5, 13, 12, 10, 15. He has 15 assists this season, just 2 more than any other season prior, and he still has 11 games left. 24 goals already. Let's go down the list from his first season to now. 32, 22, 19, 22, 23, 19, 18, 24. Aside from the first season, which is 32 goals in the Premier League, by the way, all right? He already has 24. Okay, goal involvements total for that year, his best season, was 42. He's already at 39. Overall, this season, even if he doesn't reach 32, this is the best season I've seen Mo Salah have. Statistically, eye test, everything, right? You could talk about penalties, right? I don't even know how many. Here we go. So, damn, actually, this season, it's kind of crazy. He has 7 yeah, 7. Okay. So now we're getting into something. Because I think the first, oh, dang, this is crazy. I didn't even think about this. So his first season, in the 32 goal season, he had 1 penalty. One of the goals was a penalty goal. This season, he has 7. That is something to keep in mind. That is as much as people don't want to say that, I'm very much a believer that when you're talking about pure goal scoring numbers, you have to look at open play goals versus penalty goals, because 7 versus 1 in the big season is kind of remarkable. Kind of remarkable. Okay? And then you look at shots. I will say this. His efficiency is much better. Okay? This season, he's taken 96 shots. 96. And he has the return he has. In his best season, he had 144 shots. All right, so he's already 48 shots less. I mean, he's much more efficient this year is ultimately what I'm getting at. But these are things I want everyone to think about. It's just kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. And I'm just getting back into here, guys. So I want to give a quick shout out. I want to give a legit shout out to both Liz and Tony. Okay, we'll start with Liz. So Liz has been a channel member for 50 months. Ever since YouTube gave me the ability to provide channel memberships, I think Liz and Tony may have been the first 2. I could be wrong, right? And there are multiple people that are OGs. But Liz and Tony have been supporting the channel from the very, 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 very beginning. And so 50 months is a huge milestone, right? I think that's bigger milestone than anything we could have achieved. I mean, you've been dedicated for 50 months. I get bored with the same video game after a couple months, right? So for you guys to be here for 50 months, very thankful for you guys. And Liz says, nothing but a win will do today. Absolutely. Going to Tony. Tony says, we play our game today, we should win. And so both with the same sentiment. These players and our style of play should beat Man City today without a problem. But that stuff goes out of the window when you're going up against City, when you're going up against Chelsea, Man United, Everton, Arsenal, doesn't matter. It can totally end up being a draw. And I want everyone to be prepared for that. But man, wouldn't it be great to go into the Etihad and just wipe the floor with City? That'd be freaking awesome, man. And Tony also says, the improvement in our midfield has been the difference for me. You hit the nail on the head, right? You hit the nail on the head. I know it's not the first season with this midfield, right? But when you look at last season and the performance of the midfield compared to this season, you are absolutely right. It's the difference. You have Soboslai, who, to quote Steven, runs a marathon every game. You have McAllister that is so skilled, man, and is just an animal, right? Like, the unsung hero of the midfield is McAllister. And last season, it was all McAllister because Soboslai wasn't exactly playing great. Gravenberch certainly wasn't playing great. And Endo was just Endo. He was doing well, but McAllister was the one dynamo in that midfield where you're just like, he can do it all. And because the midfield is so good this season, we're not focusing on McAllister as much. So I just want to give McAllister a shout out because he is still great. The main difference in this midfield is Ryan Gravenberch. This man is reborn. This man accepted Arne Slot as his Lord and Savior, and he has been reborn in this midfield. Okay? I don't know what he had to sacrifice, but this man is a completely new footballer. I mean, name a better comeback in recent history than Ryan Gravenberch last season, really every season since he left Ajax, to now. You can't. Right? Like, he has been a revelation. He has been an absolute revelation of this midfield. And I'm so happy because he's so young, he's so skilled, and you can just tell what kind of skill this man has. And going back over to the chat, because we have another OG channel member, as well as fellow YouTuber, Doug, of the Dugout Football channel, a member for 48 months, right? That's one thing about the OGs here, and really all the channel members, right? And even the channel members who haven't been channel members for as long, you guys, I know you've still been here for just as long, okay? And Doug, 48 months, what's going on? How are you? How's the baby? How's the channel? I hope everything's doing well. It's 4 years, man. It's kind of crazy. It's 4 years. Happy birthday, Gary, by the way. So, oh, and Tony, I wanted to touch on this. Salah creates more assists now, as far as I'm aware. That's, yeah, and I'm going back to Salah real quick. I know we're talking about the midfield, but, you know, it's a good point. It's a good point. So, where I lost the comment, where did it go? You still have to score penalties. Where did it go? Someone said you still have to score penalties regarding Salah's 7 penalty goals this year. You still have to score them. I get it. I get it. But there's no denying it's not the same. It's not the same at all. Okay? And if another player, right, wins the golden boot over Salah, right, and you look and you see that half of their goals have been penalty goals versus open play goals, you get a little salty. It's just how it is. And I'm not taking anything away from Salah. I'm just pointing out the fact that he has 7 versus 1 in the 32 goal season. Kind of crazy. But his assist total is what really blows my mind. He has become more of a creator this season and more of a all-around player, which I think is ultimately down to the system he's playing in now. There's never been more evidence than Salah's assist total, as well as the lack of assists from Trent and Robbo this season. Right? That in itself, those 2 factors, or 3, I guess you could say, point to the difference in system between Slot and Klopp. Oyvind, what's good? This team is special. Okay? And it's kind of crazy because Luis Diaz, second on the team in terms of goals, he has 9. Okay? Luis Diaz has been in a severe goal drought. I think, if I could be wrong, but I feel like the last time Luis Diaz scored a goal, like he was hot to start the year. He had like 8 goals by November. I swear to God. So hold on. Because he's starting to fall back into his old habits. I was sold on Luis Diaz being a better finisher. And this year he has 9 goals, 2 assists in 25 appearances, right? But I'm trying to see when he scored these goals. Here we go. So it was against Wolves. Yeah, it was against Wolves. But then before that, guys, he went goalless and assistless. That's a funny assistless since December 22nd. It's 2 months. And then he had another drought. A goal drought all the way back to September. Guys, this is Premier League, by the way. Those gaps are crazy. Crazy. Gary's predicting Liverpool 4, Man City 1. I will jump to predictions here. You guys just put your predictions in the chat. All right? I don't think lineups are out yet, but I do think Gakpo is available. And Cody Gakpo, for me, is the X factor today. Where's my Liverpool app? There we go. Because I want to see my team news. Where's my team news? Okay. Nope, that's not it. Bear with me, guys. Robertson's getting interviewed. I don't want to look at Robertson. Whatever. I can't find it. But so Holland, this is the team news ahead of this match, right? So in terms of Man City, and I do apologize, this past week I have not really been keeping up with the injury updates and stuff, which is mainly why I'm reading off this. Holland is being assessed for injury ahead of the match today. But Manuel Akanji, John Stones will miss the contest. And of course, Rodri and Oscar Bob. That name just makes me giggle. Oscar Bob. It's like SpongeBob. All right. And that's it. That's all I'm seeing. So I don't think there's any other long-term absentees. But again, this is just reading off the app. So just some pre-match stats for you guys, okay? City have lost just 1. I said City and Siri went on. That's creepy. Have lost just 1 of their last 15 Premier League home games against Liverpool. All right? Keep that in mind. 1. 8 wins, 6 draws. I'm telling you, it's going to be a draw today. The last the last time they lost was 2015 with Manuel Pellegrini. That was Roberto Firmino's game where he scored his first goal. That was, dude, Martin Skirtle scored in this game. Holy crap. That's the last time we beat them? Guys, that's actually crazy. That's actually crazy. Last time we beat City at the Etihad, Martin Skirtle scored. Let that sink in. I hope he's doing well, man. I love that guy. Following their 2-0 win at Anfield in December, Liverpool are looking to complete the Premier League double over City for just the third time ever. City's 4-0 victory over Newcastle was their first Premier League game this season in which they didn't face a single big chance. I don't really care about that. In just 6 Premier League matches in 2025, City have scored 20 goals from only 81 shots, a league-high conversion rate of basically 25%. All right? That's City for you. I think the really interesting... There we go, team news. This is what I'm looking for. The really interesting thing there is that we haven't beaten them since 2015 under Manuel Pellegrini. In the Premier League, guys. In the Premier League. In the Premier League. All right? Now, Gakpo, his availability, Slot said, now there might be news today, but according to Slot in his pre-match press conference, he says, I hope that Gakpo's available. Me too, buddy. He's not 100% sure. He hasn't trained with the team yet. Maybe he does a bit today. I don't know exactly. It will be a close call. All right? Haaland was an unused substitute when they lost to Madrid. So we don't know yet. I bet he plays. On his inclusion, Haaland's inclusion, Pep said, yeah, maybe, but I don't know yet because he didn't train today and not until tomorrow. But I don't know. So there's two interesting, we don't know about Gakpo or Haaland. Now, Gakpo has traveled with the team. And, oh, yeah, and I see Doug said it here too. So who knows? Right? If you travel with the team, do you start on the bench? You know, then there's that whole debate. If you're healthy enough to be on the bench, you're healthy enough to start, whatever. All right. Bradley's set to miss the fixture. Okay. With Slot saying I would be completely surprised if he's involved in Sunday's game. And I just can't. I forgot all about Joe Gomez being out, dude. I completely forgot about that. God, that's so unfortunate. Tyler Morton's out. As I mentioned earlier, Akanji and John Stones will be out as well. So really, it's just Gakpo, Gomez, Bradley, but Gakpo will likely play. I don't know what's going on with Chiesa, man. Yo Cool said, what happened to Chiesa? Okay. Yeah, so let's just go to starting 11 predictions, guys. I want you all to put your starting 11 predictions in the chat, and we'll go ahead with this right here. So starting 11 prediction, which I don't even know. I think the lineups drop an hour before the game. Sometimes it changes, and with different competitions, I feel like it's a different time. But today, you got Allison, you got Trent, you got Konate, Van Dijk, and Robbo. I like Kwanzaa. I like that Slot's comments about he's back and it's all this. It only took you 6 months. Like that pisses me off. That was the only comment that pissed me off. I know that's off topic. But midfield, you're going with your standard midfield, right? You're going Gravenberch, you're going McAllister, you're going Szoboszlai. Then you got Diaz. Oh, God, it's tough. Gakpo and Salah start. Oh, maybe Gakpo doesn't start. You're right, because he traveled with the team. So Oyvind says Diaz, Jota, Salah. So I think that's a safe bet. So Salah's obviously starting. I think you're right. I think we don't see Gakpo start. Diaz and Jota is a good shout. I think that's probably more accurate, to be honest with you. Uh, the substitute thing, though. What if, after this long conversation today, guys, about how Darwin might be this type of player, about how he might miss chances and he might just have fundamental flaws as a player? What if Darwin Nunez gets subbed on in the 70th minute, 80th minute, and he scores goals to win? Okay, I want to pose that question to you guys because then the narrative will completely change. I can guarantee you. And there's nothing we can do about it, right? If he scores a goal, especially coming off the performance against Villa, it's just another reason to forget about his flaws and just point out the fact that this is what he can do. This is his potential. That would be awesome. But that's what I'm asking. Okay? Hannah's, even if Nunez scores, we've been here before. And that's ultimately what I'm asking. How short term is everyone's memory? Because I think I've made my mind up about Nunez. I think I have. But I just wanted to pose that question. And I think Oyvind, yeah, it's simple. If you score goals, we like you, right? And as elementary as that is, I think you're right. It's like we're going to criticize you if you miss open chances, but if you score goals, we're going to be like, oh yeah, he's awesome, until you miss chances again, and then it's like, no, we don't care about you. So that's a good point. It really is a good point. I am expecting a draw with this match. I really am. That's not to say we can't win, but it's a match. It's going to be a draw. It is. And you know what? Wouldn't be surprised if it was like a 0-0 draw either. Really wouldn't. That would upset me because I've been looking forward to this match pretty much all week. But I'm expecting a draw. Liz says, nope, we win. I love it. And Oyvind says Nunez has zero credit in the bank. He can't afford multiple bad games like Salah can. That's a good point. You really do have to build your basically your insurance, right? You have to have that. That's a good way to put it. Your credit in the bank to allow for bad games. And Nunez has none. It's like he's in gambling debt. And every once in a while he'll hit it big, but then he just gambles it away again. He doesn't pay it back. It's very interesting. Doug with his predictions: Allison, Trent, Konate, Van Dijk, Simikas, Gravenberch, McAllister, Sobo, Diaz, Jota, Salah. So the only difference is Simikas. And Liz agrees with Doug. It's going to be an interesting game, guys. I'm excited, and I know everyone else is too. This is a big match. Get the 3 points, right? I am predicting a draw, but the 3 points are important. They're very, very, very important because as we talked about at the beginning of the show, this league is unpredictable. We were at the same position last season, top of the league, and we blew it. We blew it. It happens. And you cannot let it happen again. Thank you to everyone who tuned in this morning and wrote out this hour with me. I appreciate everyone, especially our channel members. Thank you to Tony, Oyvind, Liz, Doug, Ross, Tony. I probably said Tony twice. Everyone, Hannah, thank you guys so much. And everyone else who tuned in today, I appreciate your support as always. And until next week, Reds, take care.